And we are live. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Capital. This is another episode of Trade with Travis. It is a 9 o'clock version right before the market is about to open up when it comes down to index pairs. And I'm super excited to be able to get through and talk about some of the overall trading pairs that we have. It's always good to be able to wake up and see that you're in profit. And not necessarily have to do that much. We end up doing a lot of the work last week when it came down to looking at certain trader pairs to be able to get into. So now just trying to see how some of these things kind of play off in our favor. Also trying to see the automation system do its thing. It was a very slow week last week. Actually, last week was a loss of the week. It was the first loss that I've had in about 5 weeks. Overall, when you look at every pair. And so want to see if we can be able to bounce back. We're going to end up taking a look at what's going on with the economic calendar. For the people that are watching live, like always, make sure that you end up tapping in, saying hey, and writing the overall pair that you would like for me to be able to take a look at. I stay on as long as y'all keep on feeding out information. If everybody gets stagnant, everybody gets quiet, then once I get done with my stuff that I'm looking at and the trading opportunities that I look at, then I close out. That's pretty much how it goes. So if you want me to stay on longer, if you have any trading pairs or anything else like that, then obviously what I ask you to do is to be able to take a look at them and write them down so we can be able to find opportunities. And we'll be able to go from there. So let's go ahead and go through the disclaimer. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. It also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind and understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it is not promised that you end up making money today. So with that being said, as we go through and take a look at the economic calendar, this is what we have in store when it comes down to this. All week is going to end up being a trader's week. Last week, we ended up having non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll actually ended up surprising when it came down to numbers. There was over 528,000 new jobs that was actually created, over the $275,000. $275,000 that was actually looking at for it being put together. And I can see that the market is starting to push back, at least early, from this first original move. So I'm going to take a look at that as we go through. Actually, it's pushing back very hard compared to what we just looked at a little bit earlier. So something that I go ahead and jump into. We're going to take a look at what's happening with NAS 100. So NAS 100, we take a look at what's happening with the overall charts. I'm going to start off with the hour, and then after that, I might have to make a quick move off of this one because, like I end up saying, the market always moves the way that it wants to, and sometimes you might have to jump in and jump out very quickly. So we take a look at this from a weekly perspective. Market is getting close to being in the sell zone. We are pushing up, and I'm starting to see a little bit of weakness when it comes down to the buyers. Not necessarily being able to push the market up as much as we can. We end up having a pending order at 13,140 with a stop loss of 12,965 and a take profit of 13,850 when it came down to the moves. And currently, right now, we got placed into the first trade on Thursday. We got placed into the first trade on Thursday, got out of it quickly because the market started to U-turn on us, took that as an overall loss. And then after that, was like, okay, well, we'll wait to see what ends up happening. And so since then, market has popped back up, got us back into a trade, and then after that started to be able to move into the second trade. The second trade that placed us in, once again, took another loss just because it tapped and then went right back in for that overall move. And since then, the market has been basically falling off when it comes down to this movement. We can start to see that sellers are starting to push, especially early in this 9 o'clock hour. So it goes back to what I ended up saying a little bit earlier. I'm going to take a loss on this trade. So I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know why I'm taking a loss. And going to go ahead and take a move or go ahead and take that loss real quick. I end up making some early, so hopefully the amount that I end up winning covers up the amount that I end up losing. 42. Yes, but barely. Okay, so we get out of that one and start taking a look at the other ones real quick. I might have to move on DAX and US 30 real quick as well. So market end up pushing up, and then after that we have the strong engulfing candlestick at least at the 9 o'clock hour to start off. With that being said, that means that This market has fell back inside of this consolidation. So game plan for the first and second trade. Quite frankly, we're going to have to adjust a little bit. That adjustment will end up being towards the outside of this overall resistance level. So if the market does break up to the top, then I go ahead and get out of that level when the market ends up making that move. Until then, right now, what I'm going to do is just be patient and kind of lock that in. DAX, I'm taking profit on right now. I'm seeing the same thing that's actually happening with that. It's starting to move back inside of consolidation. I need to go ahead and get out of my overall pairs on US 30 as well to see what's happening with that. US 30 has not broken. US 30 has broken outside of consolidation, but I'm starting to see that all of them are starting to make the same move. And quite frankly, I don't want to give up cash at least early. I can get back in always when it comes down to that movement. Let's see. Let's see how US 30 kind of fares a little bit. It hasn't moved to the rate that DAX has, but it is in the sell zone, and the market has been creeping up somewhat slowly when it comes down to that movement. So if it does start to push back down, I'm already in profit. I've already done locked in cash off of this one. I already done locked in cash off of Nas and DAX that just made money off of. May not been exactly what I wanted, but at least to start off the day is something. And right now, what I'm probably going to end up doing, just based off of typically when you end up having a move like this, typically you end up seeing some type of retest. If it does break below, I'll go ahead and get out of this move real quick and probably let me go ahead and get out of that one as well. I'm going to go ahead and take cash on both of these. All right, so I am actually out of all of the pairs literally just that quick based off of what ended up happening this morning. Totally fine with that, at least for right now. And then after that, we'll see what's going on a little bit later on. I don't know why we end up having that large shock of a move. Let's see. Out on it's 100. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be some news behind it. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, see what's happening on CNBC. And it may end up being something from there. Tradewithtravis, blah, 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 blah. Sweeping climate, nothing. Nope. Share, sell more, nope. There's nothing on that. Take a look at Bloomberg real quick. Now it's one of the big duck outlook for tech profits. Facebook is still making billions. It's panic button, blah, 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 blah. Nothing in the beginning would end up making me be like, hey, this is something that I need to pay attention to, at least not yet. So with that being said, I'm just going to end up being a little bit more patient and see how the market kind of reacts. And then after that, I can kind of be able to make a move based off of that. But at the early portion of the day, we can see that the market ended up making this big move last week. We talked about German 40 being the move of last week when the market ended up breaking out, trying to get all the way up to 13,840. It started to quickly reject. And so that means that we have to adjust what we end up seeing with this. This is our new support levels from that overall movement, which matches up with the overall low portion of the low volume node. If we are rejecting the way that we are based off of the 15-minute, that means that we're probably going to end up seeing about an hour worth of downside movement. And if you notice, when the market rejected, it rejected at the same spot. Rejected at the same spot as this looks like a left tip of this overall movement. We end up having like a head and shoulders pattern that ended up happening based off of that movement from there. So I'm gonna be patient and wait and see how that kind of reacts. My entries now would have to be above this overall high. So anything that goes above this overall high, I will look at being given a place in the entry right around 13,730. Until then, there's really nothing to be able to do based off of this move. Sell trades, I would not look at being able to sell based off of this movement, at least not yet, until the market actually ends up breaking this overall low. But the problem is now, when we look at how the market ended up breaking out and then going back into these large consolidations, if it falls, it's going to fall back inside of a block of consolidation. So not necessarily interested in that either when it comes down to the movement. So all of this trade has done changed in everything else for its movement. Everything else for its movement, everything else for the way that I'm going to enter this trade and everything else have changed up a little bit based off of what we talked about last week, based off of new information. So Going to have to be a little bit more patient. May end up seeing the market fall. Who knows? But overall, let's go back to what we ended up saying before and then making a slight adjustment based off of this trade. I still think that it could be able to pop up to the upside. I still like the overall move long term, but we are in the middle of the summer months. So once again, August has been even slower than July, which means that it's been just a grind out type of movement. Obviously, we can see for the last 4 days it's been a consolidation for us. This move, we had that one big move that we ended up making money off of right before the end of last month, and then after that we had another 4 more days of overall grinding out forward movement. So um, I'm not going to be too much in a rush to be able to do anything when it comes down to trading unless the market ends up breaking out of these levels. Once it ends up breaking out of those levels, then I feel comfortable being able to make a trade. But until then, there's nothing to be able to do. So let's talk about DAX real quick, just for the overall movement. If I'm looking at being able to get in my new adjustment for this trade, we end up being at 13,730. I'm going to say 13,735 just to be safe. I'll look at being able to get in at 13,735, take profit. We end up being at, let's go back to our previous history. Uh, da, 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 take profit to be at 13,840, same position as last time. So let's see, take profit at 13,840. 13,840. So I have to adjust the risk versus reward as well when it comes down to that. I'm going to end up take a look at the 15 minutes, see what we have. See the buyers starting to buy it up, but the market is in the sell zone, so that also means that we have a good chance that this market is starting to be able to push down a little bit before being able to do that. Um, I'm going to put it like this. Whatever the fractal low is, that's what my stop loss is going to end up being. So I'm going to have to adjust once we end up truly seeing what the actual fractal low would end up being. Currently, right now, the fractal low is right here. So I'm going to say from the beginning, or at least for right now, stop loss will end up being at 13,650. Once again, that is subject to change because the 15 minutes in the sell zone. I would personally not like this market to be able to break above these new highs and still be in the sell zone. That means to me that there could be a false break. That means to me that it's going to end up struggling to be able to move, and we don't necessarily have the best risk versus reward if that ends up happening. We got a 1 to 1.72, which is okay, but it may not necessarily be the best trade in the world to be able to take. So that's where I'm at currently when it comes down to this move. But take profit will still end up being 13,840. Entry will be above 13,735. So let's move this up right here. Stop loss will be at we end up being at 13,650. That actually does change it a little bit. We got a 1 to 1.5. So take that for what you will. I think that this market is going to remain to keep on being in consolidation when it comes down to movement. So it's just pick and choose. Get your best spots. Get in, get out, do what you can. There's no reason to sit up there and think that this is a swing traders month. It's not. Typically, it's never been a swing traders month. It's always been a scalpers month. So get what you can, and then after that, kind of go from there. Let's go. US 30. US 30 is still above. US 30 is still above the overall consolidation area. I end up taking in a limp trade on this one, meaning that it was kind of the same deal. I get what I can when it comes down to this movement. The reason why I'm doing that is because if you look at previously, we go based off of the hour and we go back into history and just take a look at it. Previously, what ended up happening was that we are in the middle of this overall block area from May 27th all the way to June 10th. As the market ended up having a large consolidation from 13,635 all the way up to 13,3277. So since we know that this has been a previous consolidation area, not an area where the market has had like a lot of strong movements, there's really no reason to be able to say that I'm going to go 100% on this trade. This is one of those trades to where you can be able to get something out of it. If it does move up, then that's great. Use a trail stop, allow the market to be able to ride with you a little bit, and then kind of go from there. The real trade is if the market ends up breaking above this level, and we still have that pending order in at 33,305 with a stop loss of 33,140 and a take profit of 34,310, which I think is the big trade that may end up happening possibly at the end of this month or possibly in the middle of this month. But at this particular point in time, I'm just going to wait and see how the market kind of reacts before being able to do anything when it comes down to that. But once that happens, then I'll be ready to go. Until then, I just wait until some movement actually ends up happening from there. So that is US 30. Staying away from it at least for right now. We'll see what happens at 9:30. Maybe it might be a move that we can be able to get for its continuation based off of the 15 minute. But the 15 minute, just like what's happening with Nas, is in the sell zone. And if it does fall back inside of consolidation, then that means that we have to move our consolidation box a little bit higher. And then we'll take a trade on the outside of that overall movement, if that makes sense for everyone. Nas 100, there we go. We can see that we have that strong engulfing candlestick. That candlestick has just closed. They end up covering up about easily. Let's see, we got 74 bars. About 6 hours of overall movement. Yeah, so Nas, at the beginning of the day, just looking at how this market is kind of reacting, this is telling me that there's not going to be a trade on Nas today, at least from the beginning. If I'm looking at it for right now, there's not going to end up being a trade that I would be interested in being able to take at this particular point when it comes down to movement. The only trade that I would particularly want to be able to take is a buy trade. Once again, if we go back and we take a look at what ended up happening, if it falls down, we're going to fall back down into a block area, kind of like what's happening with DAX. So that means that all of what end up doing, if it does fall down to this overall area to the downside, then it's going to make a larger consolidation box that we have to stay away from. So in this case, the movement that I would love to be able to see is movement to the upside. But if it does fall down inside of this level, then that means that I'm going to stop trading on this trade in general and leave that one alone. I'm going to get rid of. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of this trade, right? Well, no, I'm going to keep that, but the adjustment for both of those trades will still be what we ended up talking about a little bit earlier, where we want to get in outside of that consolidation box. I think that was a 13,365 or something like that. Let's see, what was that number? I don't know if y'all can hear my son in the background. He's being my son. That's what he does. 13,360. 13,360 will end up being the new area for us being able to get in. Take profits is still the same. Still talking about. Let's see, trying to get out before there. Right there. It's still 13,860. And the second trade is going to 13,600. So that's where we are when it comes down to those two trades. I'm going to have to readjust those entries for us being able to get in for us that spot. Now, what's going on? Jess, I hope everything's going well with you. Everything's going well. Everything would have been better if this market didn't flush down real quick, right when the market happened at 9 o'clock. I think I was up about 400 on Nas before it fell down real quick. But until then, got out. Obviously, you can see that the market is in a high volume node and in consolidation, so there's really no trade to be able to take. I'll just wait until the market actually ends up making this move to the upside, and then after that, we'll kind of go from there. But for right now, there's really nothing when it comes down to the indices. Let's start talking about Forex pairs real quick. The main that being something that we can be able to look at. I'm going to take a look at the big three and kind of go from there. I'm going to be very brief on this because market has already opened up on Forex pairs, so we'll kind of see what's happening. I go ahead and go with gold real quick to be very quick. There's no move on gold. The market is in consolidation. I would not do anything with this overall movement until the market truly breaks out of 2070 or falls down to 1685. There's no move for me on gold, so I'm out on gold. Take a look at what's happening with U.S. oil. U.S. oil is continuing to fall down. There's a de-extension at 88, 88.35. I mean 86.35. The market is moving down right there. That may be a scalping opportunity. Um, you take a look at what's happening with the daily. The daily's still pushing down. The daily ended up hitting the D extension already. Um, so that means if we take a look at the 2 hour, we see minor consolidation when it comes down to this movement right here. If the market does break below this consolidation box, then I will look at being given to possibly look at scalping that move, but that will be a very quick scalp if that was to happen. Um, the risk versus reward doesn't make any sense on that trade. So I'm going to stay away from what's happening with U.S. oil. Let's take a look at U.S. dollar index. U.S. dollar index from a weekly perspective, weekly, not daily. From a weekly perspective, is moving inside of a channel. The last time we took a look at it last week, it ended up starting to make a bullish morning star, meaning that we see that the bulls may end up controlling that overall movement. That happened earlier this morning, the way that I was looking at it. But currently, right now, we can see sellers are really kind of knocking the market down, at least early today. Um, we had a breakout and a retest of this move. And currently, right now, I can see that the market is trying to hold that position, at least from the buyer's perspective. Uh, but as we look at this market is slowly trying to grind up to 13,168. Um, but I think we, based off of that 5% rule, it already hit that. It did already hit that. Oh, I remember what happened. Oh, we ended up placing in sub fibs off of this when I ended up looking at what a sub fibs were. So let me do that real quick. Here, here. All right, so currently, right now, you look at the new fibs or the custom fibs that I ended up placing in. The market fell at the 5.0, which means that it could go up to 13,497 for its a overall move. Currently, the market is in a no trade zone on the daily. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad trade to be able to take. It just means that you have to wait for a counter trend line break. The market is in the 2 hour buy zone, which is good. We had a game plan to be able to get in, but that never happened. So I'm going to exit off of that. I will look for the market to be able to break this counter trend line break to the upside. If it does break to the upside, um, with it still being in the buy zone, then there may be an opportunity to be able to get into it. That are for the people that like to be able to react a little bit faster off of that, I would say take a look at the 1 hour or the 15 minute before being able to make a move off of that. But currently, right now, no move off of United States dollar index pairs either. I'm looking for buys, but the buy trades are not there. So let me rewind real quick and let's just break down what I'm saying. United States dollar index looking at being able to buy. There's no move to be able to get in yet. So put that off the board. Oil. What's happening with oil is that the market is pushing to the downside. There's a very small window to be able to make a move off of that. So with that very small window, there's not a lot of good risk versus reward. So even though I would like to be able to sell on Canadian dollar pairs, all of them are pretty much at a point to where they've already done made the move and exceeded the move at this particular point. So there's really no move off of that. Um, Gold, the market's in consolidation. So Japanese yen, Australian dollar, staying away from those overall pairs. Let's take a look at what's happening with the euro index. Uh, let's see. And for the people that have watched me do this before, this is the first time that I've noticed that they have the euro index, the pound index, and I think the Swiss franc index and a few other indexes. You know how we end up taking a look at the big three, it may end up turning into the big five. Um, for people that know what I'm talking about. Um, but Euro index, Eurozone has a chance to fall all the way down to 12,883. Currently, right now, the market's in an R3 zone. Because it's in an R3 zone, then that means that we're going to end up probably seeing more one sided trading than anything else. So that means that we should be looking for the market to be able to keep on falling down off the daily. Currently, right now, um, if you notice, there may be a built up consolidation area that may start to form right here. I'm not going to call it true consolidation because it hasn't basically rejected off the top yet. But currently, right now, at this particular point, there's really no trade to be able to take until we end up having a breakdown or a break below 13. What's this low price right here? Anything below 13,100. If it breaks below 13,100, then after that, the Eurozone will keep on falling down. Currently, right now, there's really no trade to do on the Eurozone for Euro-based pairs. Let's go to see if the pound, look at the pound index as well. First time looking at the pound index. Look at the pound index is just nothing more than a huge consolidation. Like, jeez. Um, let's see. Market is back into a R2 zone. There was a counter trend line break. The market ended up double bottoming right here. It's starting to push up. Um, I'm not going to call it consolidation. I'm not going to call it a great move either, because obviously, if you're looking at this, the visible direction is to the downside. So you'll want to be looking at high prices to be able to sell. And the market is not in the high prices to be able to sell at this particular point. So pound pairs won't pay attention to none of those as well. Um, so take a look at New Zealand dollars. Let's see what's going on with that. Hey, if you're gonna pop in, you know the rule. No, cannot take this phone. You know the rules. Say hey. Ah, look at the camera. Say hey. That's not hey. That's falling back. Look at the camera. Say hey. Get out of here. Bye.
I will choke you.
All right, get out of here. Let's see. New Zealand chart is crap. Let's see. Obviously, I'm going to look at it from downside move. Market did the same thing as the pound double bottom right at the B and starting to push back up. There's really no move to be able to make off of this one as well. So, market is crap. That's what I'm gonna. That's my adjustment. Trade should I end up placing in as pending orders. We end up being a trade for NAS 100 when the market ends up breaking out. There's really no move to take until the market ends up making a true breakout of that overall move. US 30 has popped back up a little bit more. Kind of excited to be able to see what will happen for the next 3 minutes before we end up making a move off of US 30. We see what's happening with DAX. DAX is strongly inside of this consolidation area. There's really no trade to be able to take. Okay, well, come on and say hi. Ooh, man. I should have thought about that with your hair. Say hi. Okay, good. Go ahead. Let's see. I'm kind of curious to see what this move is going to be. I truly am. All intents and purposes is leaning to me that the market may end up falling. I don't. If you notice, obviously, you see Nas end up making that quick move to the downside. It doesn't necessarily mean that industrial moves will end up moving to the downside, but seeing that slow grind to the upside, that is based off of that. But we're above this overall area. We are above this overall consolidation block. Now, we truly want to say that this market is truly going to be bullish, then anything above 13,987 is actually a better position. But currently, right now, there's really nothing to be able to do. But that's the game plan for everybody. The one trade that I would pay attention to probably would be US 30, just because it's above the overall area. I will see how that kind of reacts first. Nas, I will place in the pending order and just wait. DAX, I'll place in the pending order and just wait, and kind of see how those moves kind of react. Everything else, I wouldn't do anything with Forex pairs right now. there's really no moves off of those. But hope you have a very good day when it comes down to being able to trade. I'm going to wait for a few minutes to see if there's any questions. And from there, I'm going to adjust based off of what I'm looking at real quick. I'm going to start placing in my pending orders real quick. So if y'all allow me to, we'll go ahead and start talking about those. US 30 will probably end up being the first move that I'll probably end up looking at being able to make, to be honest, though. If I'm looking at making any move for being able to say get in and get out or whatever may be the case, it would be US 30, but it would have to be to the upside. If this market falls, then there's really nothing I want to do with it. Let's see. Market has opened up 9:30 at this particular point. Seeing a little bit of a jump. If the market holds, I'm going to go ahead and place my position back in on US 30. Let's go ahead and take a look at every other position real quick. What's happening with Nas? Nas has completely failed. Go to the 15 minutes to be able to confirm it. Yes, that's completely failed. We can see that US 30 is rejecting just a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to stay where it is. And go ahead and place my pending order in on German 40 as well. Let's see.
Hey, Dad.
What's up, baby?
We want to play whipped cream fight with us?
No whipped cream fight. No.
I need a whipped cream fight.
No whipped cream fight.
I need whipped cream fight.
You must be playing whipped cream fight with your mom. I've never whipped cream fight with you. Let's see. I'm going to take a limp in buy on US 30. I got in at 33,002. It's at 33,006 now. Take stop loss. Put that in the trash. What's going on, Casey? Hope everything's going well with you. Just got in on Dow Jones. We'll see how that kind of goes. I was already in it earlier today. Just got back into it. Stop loss will end up being below the point of control of today, which will end up being at 32,968. So let's say 32,965. There we go. We're starting to see a little bit more movement based off of that. That's pretty good. Let's see. 33,968. Take profit. What did I have for my take profit? What did I have my take profit previously? 32,850. No, that's not it. 33,075. 33,075. So this may be a quick one. There it is. Hopefully it'll keep on making this move. Let's see. Nas is starting to push up a little bit more. So pending orders need to go ahead and start getting placed in those positions that we end up talking about. Let me go ahead and place this pending order in on DAX. If you trade based off of the terminal, it's always good to be able to have a position size calculator. That position size calculator will save you a hell of a lot of time when you're in the trade, so you don't have to sit up there and think about it. 13,734. If you would like to be able to get this position size calculator that I'm using for my overall trading, please let me know. Just type in me, or matter of fact, yeah, type in me, and I send you a message, and I'll show you where you can be able to get that link. My stop loss was, let's see. Right now we have this being your fractal low. I'm going to be a little bit more tighter. I'm going to say that 13,675. 13,675. Oh, jeez. 13,675. Stop doing that, Travis. 13,675. What's up, baby? No, baby, we're about to eat breakfast. 13,840. Okay, so you got a trade that you're looking at? Trap point should have hit for US 30. You're using the FX Striker Max system. So, Jess, if you end up taking that trade on US 30, trap point should have hit. I don't know if it took you out, but it should have hit already. Okay, pending orders in 13,734. Stop loss 13,675. Take profit 13,840. 13,840. That is the new trade for this one. Write this down real quick. Pending buy 13,734. The entry 13,675. Stop loss 13,840. I'm gonna be very tight on this stop because obviously the market last week was very slow, and it jumped back very quick. Seeing the same thing right now, even with what's happening with US 30. I hope my trap points end up taking me out. Did my trap points take me out? Yes, it did. That's the whole reason why you end up having that in the first place. End up making uh, End up making a little bit off of that one. Not much, but end up making a little bit off of that one. End up making extra $70 off of that move this morning. Once again, that was just a limp in, so we end up talking about that a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's okay to limp in. We know that the big move is up here, so I'm not necessarily worried about um, truly trying to break the bank when it comes down to that movement. Starting to see that sellers are starting to push in right here, and if this becomes the rejection point, then we have to move our consolidation levels a little bit more. But there goes the high volume node. We can see the high volume node right here. We are outside of the high volume node, so it should be in good months and in good movements when it comes down to volatility. We should see that the market could keep on going up, but right now we're not getting that pressure from not getting that push from everybody else to be able to make the market keep on moving. Okay, so I got the trade in for DAX. I'm going to go ahead and place this trade in for Nas, and then after that, we'll go ahead and call it a day when it comes down to everything that we're looking at. All right, Nas, if it does break out, I got it at 13,360. Will end up being the area where I want to get in off of a buy. This trade will end up being one of those trades that you can just wait for it to be able to happen. It's not going to end up happening really no time soon, at least from what it looks like. So I'm going to place this in and then go ahead and call it a day when it comes down to this movement. New trade will end up being a pending buy stop at 13,360. 13,360. Stop loss. Okay. Stop loss. I'm going to place it under today's point of control, at least for right now. I might adjust it. If you see me adjust it, you'll see it on TradingView. Um, Stop loss is going to be at 13,255. They'll give it a little bit of room. Remember, the biggest rule when it comes down to this style of trading is if the market jumps right back inside of the consolidation box when it breaks out of that level, that's your first warning area. So if you don't feel comfortable about the move after it's done fell back inside of consolidation, hurry up and get out of it early. Save your money, and then after that, look for a better position a little bit later on. We can see that the market is starting to push a little bit. We can see that Nas is starting to, US 30 is starting to push a little bit more off his move as well, which is also good. But come back to that real quick. Make sure that I have that trade in before I do anything else. Take profit on this one is 13,840. Well, no, did I say that right? No, that's Nas. That's US 30. Oh, 13,850. Okay, good to go. And 13,600. And just like that, my day is done. Everyone, y'all have a great day. Hopefully, if you end up gaining value off of this, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button so it can be able to get out to more people. For the people that are part of my academy class and everything else like that, I will contact y'all individually about what's going on with your overall trades and everything else like that. Hopefully, everybody ends up having a very good day as this market, hopefully on US 30 will start to grind out and finally give us a move to the upside that we can be able to work on or work with and start to push inside of this zone to where we have that big push that we've been looking for. But that's 300 points away. So not necessarily worried about it making a move today off of it. The market gradually starts to get up there today. And then we may end up seeing something tomorrow. Who knows? But we can start to see that this market is starting to make a bigger push. So that's good to see. Like always, plan your trade your plan. Everyone, y'all end up having a good one. Say bye-bye. Y'all say bye-bye. You ain't gonna say bye-bye? No?
Goodbye.
Okay, there we go. Everyone, y'all have a good one. Take it easy.